I believe One Piece has about 3 eras. I will be covering the middle era using images from Enies Lobby. Facial thirds. The upper third, the forehead, is always the biggest. This goes for feminine characters like Nami to masculine characters like Zoro and Sanji. The middle third is usually the smallest third here. The lower third is slightly longer. In some of these images, the middle and lower third are the same length, like the group pics. Sometimes, Nami has the middle third longer than the lower third. Luffy's lower third can be longer than the middle when his mouth is open. Sanji usually has the lower third being the shortest. There's some variation, but the trend seems to be that the middle and lower thirds are about equal, but the lower third can get longer when characters open their mouths. When it comes to the eye outlines, Oda has 2 main methods. The first is the more circular shape that Luffy and Nami have. The second is the more rhombus-like shape that Zoro, Sanji, and Lucci have. Both of the outline types are split into 2 strokes, a top line and a bottom line. For females, the top stroke is a little thicker and has extra eyelashes. For men, both lines are about the same thickness. For the eyeball, men have small black circles, while women have large black circles, with a shine in the top right. Most characters have eyelids, but like with Naruto and Bleach, the protagonist doesn't have a drawn eyelid. Eyebrows are thin lines with very little thickness. For the eye gap, characters have at minimum 1 eye between. At maximum, it's a little over 1 eye of space. For the basic nose, it's almost always pointing left or right, even when facing forward. There are exceptions, like when a character is looking down, like in the Sanji picture. Sometimes from a forward angle, is drawn with the line coming down from the brow, and 2 carrots for the nostrils, as you can see in the group pic or Lucci's pics. The mouth has the lower lip drawn most of the time. For jaws, there are 2 main types. There's the childish/feminine round jaw, and the masculine flat and wide jaw. For hair, there are several thin lines drawn inside the hair shape to add texture and layers. This can be seen in Nami, Sanji, and Caulifla's hair. Masculine characters have wide necks, and feminine or childish characters have slim necks. For height, One Piece characters are drawn very tall, regardless of their actual height. Usually, the average person is about 6 heads tall. Luffy is 5'8", but is drawn 8 heads tall. Zoro and Sanji are both 5'10", but in the first image, Zoro is 8 heads tall and Sanji is 11. Usually, the midpoint of the body is the groin. In this style, the lower half can be longer than the upper half. In this first duo image, Zoro is even, while Sanji's top half is slightly shorter, at 4.5 heads. In the second duo image, Zoro and Sanji are both 5 heads tall at the midpoint. I would assume that they'd be 10 total, but the groin isn't always at the midpoint, as seen by Kaku and Lucci next to them. Kaku is 6'4" and 13.5 heads tall. His top half is 5 heads, and his lower half is 8.5. Lucci and Caulifla have similar stats. Spandam and Robin both have longer lower halves too. Robin is 6'2" and 9 heads tall. Spandam is 6'3.5" and 10 heads tall. Apart from the height, another unique thing about the anatomy is the hands. They're slightly bigger than normal, but they stand out a lot less compared to the early style. One Piece does the line simplification that I mentioned in Bleach, but in a different way. The bodies can be simplified to extreme degrees. In static poses, characters in suit can have bodies reduced to simple shapes like rectangles and trapezoids. Looking at Sanji, his legs are basically 2 long rectangles, while his torso is like a rectangle that tapers towards the middle. His arms are also just long rectangles. This pattern can be seen in Lucci, Kaku, and Spandam, who also wear suits. At times, Luffy's upper body is just a bottom-heavy trapezoid. Sometimes, the sidelines from his trapezoid will extend into his pants if he's standing up straight. Female characters literally have their bodies shaped like an hourglass. During action, the simplification reaches extreme degrees. Limbs and torsos will bend to create clean C and S curves, or they will straighten to create clean straight lines. I mentioned this in my Mr. 1 and Mr. 2 fight videos and gave more examples there. For the line work, there isn't much noticeable line weight here. His lines also look a little shaky when drawing long lines. Oda uses solid blacks a lot and has them blend together for individual characters. For example, Sanji wears a jacket, tie, pants, and shoes. All of them blend together like one object. Lucci and Jabura's black hair even blends into their clothes. There are rarely any details in the black, even for the hair. But for separate characters with solid blacks, there are white outlines to show overlap. The style doesn't use hatching too much. In regular scenes, there will be hatching for cast shadows, like the head above the neck, but more shadows can appear in dramatic scenes. The lines actually sometimes have line weight to them. For tones, he almost never uses them in his character designs. They are reserved for dramatic moments to shade an entire character. The main traits that define One Piece's art style compared to the average anime are the big foreheads, the long bodies, the big hands, and the extreme simplification of character outlines.